through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrencies the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Crazy Kryptonaut. I hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful Trump day this week. Hopefully life is taking it easy on everyone. What is up? Captain Spiffy coming in at number 1 on the like button. Thank you so much, Captain Spiffy, for that. Oh, Kukla, thank you as always for being here. And I saw everyone asking. I hope that you are doing particularly well with the recovery. All right, David, I got my apple. Thank you so much, David. Hope you're having a wonderful one. Kukla, hopefully they don't make you take sick days for it. Hopefully. Or that you have enough to spare a few. What's up, Crazy Chester? Oh, Linda Hearn coming in at number 8 on the list today. Thank you so much, Linda. Oh, Mile High Trish, a work in progress. What is happening? What's happening in your life, a work in progress? What's up, Deborah and Neil? I am glad that you could make it today, man. Glad to see you. Oh, ADHD. Yeah, I get how that one goes. I understand that one entirely. I get that one. What's up, Bear? Oh, man, everything is rolling along. Yesterday, ADHD. Yesterday was a great buy crypto day. It was. With everyone worried about what the CPI data was, there was a lot of hesitancy in the market. And we're going to talk a little bit about the repercussions of that hesitancy, because we saw the same thing that we tend to see. We should have seen a very, very small price correction on account of investor sentiment. But because of leveraged traders, we saw a far, far disproportionate amount of price drop on account of it. We're going to jump into that one and look at some numbers in just a little bit. What's up, musical lady? Triumphant. Partly sunny and 85 degrees in Graham, North Carolina. That doesn't sound too bad. Oh, Bayer says bank not allowing crypto purchases now. What next? Now, Bear, I have had that happen for my bank accounts before. It used to happen far more often. They've pretty much figured out now that they can't stop me. But usually it just requires a call to the bank, and they're going to say that they denied the transaction because it's, they're protecting you. Maybe it was stolen. They're going to make up a lot of reasons about why. It's probably because they just don't want the money to leave the bank. But usually after that, then you won't have any problem with it. Bear, if it's something else that's going on, though, and your bank is actually saying we just will not allow you to participate in crypto, I would definitely be interested to know which bank that was so that I could warn people to stay away. What is up, Barbecue Honcho? I'm D. Hello, Zester. Hello, D. Thank you for teaching us not so techie people. Greatly appreciate your patience. It is my pleasure, D. It is my pleasure. Now is the time to learn. Regardless of whether we're buying crypto or not, we don't need to buy it. We need to understand how it works so that when it does start to be forced upon us and we have all these conversations going on the debate stages and things of that nature, we're informed about what they're talking about. And so I am glad that you're here and learning. Welcome, Petrichor. Oh, and welcome, Belinda, saying, I was just catching up on your dad's Wednesday show. Nice. Hopefully, it's a busy one on Wednesdays. It is a busy one on Wednesdays, adding in whiskey and wisdom. It's a whole day. Thank you, Kukla, so much. As always, guys, this podcast is designed for educational and entertainment purposes alone. Should not be viewed as financial or legal advice. please consult with a professional. Thank you, as always. What's up, Daniel? Bear 775. Any crypto place take ACH? I am actually not certain, Bear. That's never been a question that's come up for me, and so I am not positive. I would have to look into it to see. I know of the ones that I can think of right off the top of my head. If you're going with a centralized exchange like a Coinbase or the like, you can connect your bank account. The other option would be with something like Changely. You can utilize Google Pay, a debit, a credit card. Keep in mind that you're always going to have the lowest fees when you can connect a bank account. But if the bank doesn't let you, then, well, it doesn't really help that much that it's a little bit cheaper to make the transaction now, does it? So I would look towards one of those other options if possible, Bear. Debit, credit, or, and of course, when it comes to Google Pay and things of that nature. That's pretty much the same. Also, PayPal. PayPal is an option out there that some people are still allowed on. I know myself and the original Mark Z, we got kicked off of PayPal. Something to do with buying a Canadian gas in the middle of winter. For some reason, we're not allowed back after doing that. It must have been some really bad gas that we helped buy. Must have been some really bad gas we helped buy. But I know for those that do still have access to PayPal, they do have the ability to make purchases with for crypto on there. And so that would be one other one I can think of that would be a different method of moving money. But otherwise, I would look towards Changely if you just don't have any other option. But you can make purchases on Coinbase with a debit or credit card also. And so I don't know if that may be a workaround. That may be a workaround. Oh, Lori, your bank account as well. All right. Now we need to figure out what banks are doing this. I know I never had issues with Wells Fargo, and I never had issues with Bank of America, but this was in the past. Nowadays, I have a much smaller bank that I work with that gives way more of a personal touch. And they denied my first purchases when I went to make to transfer money in years ago. And so they now understand that if money's going into crypto, it's nothing to worry about. But they didn't at first. What's up, Golden Arrow? Oh, and thank you so much for joining for the learning. What's up, Jorge? Hey, we get some Spanish practice at the same time. I need it. What's up, Quantum Love? Hey, Zester, hope you're doing awesome. I am doing particularly well. I did not have the greatest night's sleep last night, but that's a story. That's a story for later, maybe. Bear says Chase doesn't allow from debit. All right. That one I need to start writing those things down. Now, Bear, even after calling, they won't allow it. That's not just for you trying the first time. That's, you tried. They said, hey, funny business is going on. And you said, hey, that's me. And they still said no. Well, I'm writing that one down so that we can start a little index of all of these different banks. That's probably something that would be useful for the community to have together. Yeah, Deborah, I was kicked off and now I do not want to go back. All right. Kukla, actually, no. I before we jump in, I'll give everyone that story. It was a terrible night's sleep. There was a lot of rain last night, and there is a outlet right behind my bed. And apparently, down here, it's all concrete homes. So all the electrical ends up going right up on top of the roof, and then it ends up going over to the main breaker boxes and things of that nature. Apparently, something broke up there last night, and needless to say, I woke up with an entire swarm of ants crawling all over the bed because they had been forced in some way down the electrical outlet. And so I had a particularly unpleasant awakening last night after a couple hours of laying in bed when I woke up covered in ants and being bitten. And so I hope everyone else had a much better night's sleep than I did, because that is something I would imagine is out of a nightmare for many folks. It was awful. It was awful. And they had to be the little biting ones too, red ants of some kind. But needless to say, that outlet is completely blocked now, and comments have been made and calls have been made to the landlord over here, because that was unpleasant. Oh yes, Lori. Needless to say, I had a few choice words when I woke up this morning. I would have to admit, I owe that swear jar quite a few donations after this morning. Quite a few donations after this morning. All right, Bear. So both said no. All right. We're going to have to do a little bit of research then, Bear, and try to find some workarounds, because that is Chase was a no. PayPal is a no. Yeah, no, Cash App is another option. I know Cash App does have some crypto choices. I believe Cash App allows you to also remove the crypto. That's one thing to keep keep an eye out on. You know, Robinhood, back when they first started offering cryptocurrency, you could buy crypto, but you couldn't take it off of Robinhood. That is not optimal. And remember, not your keys, not your crypto. And so that is not something that you want to have your money stuck in, but for so long. That is not. Oh, Petrichor Ranch. Oh my, I'm very sorry. I hope you're well stocked on Lotion 2000. I went through just about every CBD guru product this morning / overnight. I went through just about all of them. I ate a gummy. I had the lotion. I had also taken pretty much every product that I had in the box. I was taking it. All right. Mile High Trish, Cash App allows you to move Bitcoin. I have done it recently. So that's another option. Then there, Cash App is particularly easy, but you are also going to be connected to some of the same payment sources. So in your situation, Bear, it may not be the answer, because you're still going to need to connect a debit, a credit card, or something of the like. I would be very curious, though, to what the bank's reasoning is behind it, Bear. Was it specifically because maybe you were trying to purchase XRP? That one might make a bit more sense. But when it comes down to Ethereum or Bitcoin, nowadays they've been fully recognized by the regulatory bodies. And so I don't know how the bank could be getting away with saying you're not allowed to make that purchase. To me, that should be a go. Wow, Bear, the Cash App blocked 2 through bank. I'm going to have to do some research for you then, Bear, because I think that's most of the thoughts that I can come up with right off the top of my head. So I will have to do a little bit of research and see if we can't find some other avenues. All right, though, guys, let's jump on into it and check out some of our news today. And so for those that were paying attention yesterday, there was a very, 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 very quick price correction that occurred yesterday. And now that the consumer price index data has come out and everything met expectations, we've seen the markets start to turn back around. Of course, I say that and then and then jump over here and look at what I got. Maybe I spoke a bit too soon. We are down 2% in the past hour. No, just needed a refresh. We're back on our way back up. So we've got Bitcoin sitting at 68. We're still hovering right around that 70K. We do have particularly bullish news for Ethereum that we are going to get into. And we continue to see XRP sitting completely stagnant. I am very, very much impatiently awaiting the news that the XRP ETF has been approved. I'm optimistic that if they can get out of these last 2 cases with the SEC, that's going to happen very, very quickly afterwards. But XRP is also going to be launching their stablecoin option before the end of 2024 is what they say. although their messaging seems to really be ramping up. And so I'm guessing that XRP is planning on releasing that stable coin either somewhere right around the end of quarter 3 or the beginning of quarter 4. I doubt they're planning on waiting until until the buzzer in terms of December. So I'm guessing that news is going to be coming out fairly soon with an actual launch date. And remember that when we say a stable coin, really what it is and what it can kind of be viewed as is essentially like a synthetic asset. There's $1 in a bank account, and there's one token representing that dollar. XRP is planning on entering into that market very, very soon. That is going to be positive news for the price. Now, how much that adoption really takes on, we're going to have to wait and see. There's a lot of competition in the stablecoin market at the moment between Circle and USDC and Coinbase, and then Tether, which is the largest of all stablecoins. There's a lot of competition in that $200 billion industry. But XRP is planning on having their stablecoin option be available on both the XRP blockchain and the Ethereum blockchain. And so when that stablecoin releases from Ripple, you're not going to have to hold it inside of your Ripple wallet. You're going to be able to actually hold that in your Ethereum wallet on your ledger, or inside of your XRP. That I'm certain is going to necessitate some new tutorial videos when it does occur, but that is going to be particularly good news for the price. How good a news? We're going to have to wait and see, and we're going to have to see how many financial institutions start utilizing XRP stablecoin over the sketchy Tether, because Tether does have a massive amount of their supposed backing assets held in Chinese banks and in other foreign locations. They have a massive amount that is held in the form of U.S. Treasury bonds, but they do have a lot of liquid cash that is sitting outside of the United States. I could see that being a big reason that a lot of different financial institutions are actually going to prioritize XRP stablecoin. But we're just going to have to wait and see on that one. I'm particularly optimistic, though, about that. Tether started actually buying gold in order to back their stablecoin offerings. And so I would see that as potentially being the same pattern that XRP is planning on going down, where they're planning on launching that stablecoin, taking the fees and their earnings from it in order to start tokenizing other real world assets. That is what I am expecting. All right, though. So yeah, nothing too exciting here, but let's get into the real meat of the meal. Donald Trump says he wants all remaining Bitcoin to be made in the USA. So early Tuesday, Trump met executives from NASDAQ-listed Bitcoin mining firm CleanSpark Incorporated and Riot Platforms. For all those, and to me, this was a very, very important one, as he mentions and says, Donald Trump sees Bitcoin as the last line of defense against a central bank digital currency. And he wants to mine all the remaining Bitcoin in the United States. And the way that he wants to go about doing this is ensuring that Bitcoin mining operations inside of the United States are able to compete when it comes down to energy costs. And so this really ties in to everything else that Donald Trump talks about: energy independence, the fact that the United States should be making, manufacturing, and producing all of our own energy, the vast majority of all our manufactured goods. And the only way we're going to do that is if we start to drill, baby, drill. And so these things all tie in together with his broader political goals. And the importance here, in my opinion, is that he does see Bitcoin as the last line of defense. And remember, we've talked about this one before. The reason that I believe Bitcoin can never go away is because it is that last line. If the governments choose to force central bank digital currencies down the people's throats, even if it's not our government, if it's the Brazilian government is working with BRICS in order to launch a centralized digital currency of some form or fashion. Say they decide to start taking advantage of their people, they start selling out their citizens' futures by printing, minting, and utilizing centralized authority to really destroy the value of their crypto, of their stable coin, or of their centralized currency. Then the people of Brazil would have the backup to go to Bitcoin. To me, that's exactly what Donald Trump just said. And in that comment, it is the last line of defense. That's why Bitcoin is so important. I know that for many, having something that is not backed by any type of real world asset is not particularly reassuring. But now we are seeing the people like Donald Trump, and as we've been hearing from so many other financial analysts, it really doesn't come down to whether it's backed by anything. It comes down to scarcity. And that is what's going to maintain the value of Bitcoin. It's not going to be because it's backed by that I can exchange it for gold or silver or anything else. It's the fact that other people can't just make more of it, no matter what. There is no centralized authority. There's no government that can take control of it. There's no central bank that can manipulate it, at least, but to so much of a degree. And so we always have to keep in mind, anything that tries to take Bitcoin away from us is something that is taking away a tool that could be necessary for us in the future, or it could be necessary for people all over the world in the future in order to keep their government acting right. And so it is extremely important. And it also is some of the most positive words I've ever heard Trump use in relation to directly Bitcoin, not just blockchain and crypto technology. Trump's now throwing it fully behind Bitcoin, not just the other applications. Not only is he going to keep us away from a central bank digital currency, he's going to ensure that we are capable of always having Bitcoin as a last line of defense. I think that right there is a very, very quotable little area for people to be aware of. I know for so long, it's something where, I've been in crypto and working for going on about to be 9 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about on my part, but it's something where I know I've been trying to preach to people. I feel like the crazy guy standing on the corner with the sign, that your money's going to end up being a cryptocurrency. Your money's going to end up being, backed by Bitcoin or supported by Bitcoin. And for 9 years, I think most people just thought I should be in the loony bin. Now we're seeing the president say that it's going to happen. Now we're seeing the people in power say that it's going to happen. And so I know there is about to be a massive awakening of, especially on the right, of conservatives and Republicans, a massive awakening towards the importance of cryptocurrency. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be running around trying to learn what they didn't think, I think, for a long time was going to be that important to be knowledgeable about. And so these are the type of things that are going to wake people up. Trump coming out and saying that Bitcoin is a last line of defense, that is going to wake people up. And so I would expect everyone here, as you've been learning and you've been advancing your knowledge in crypto, be ready to give those basic explanations to people. Be ready to let people know about what Trump's saying. Be ready to let people know about what Biden's vetoing and the bills that are getting destroyed by the Democrats at this point in time, because they are trying to take centralized control over the future of finance. We need people to be aware of what is happening, because it is becoming the time. The battle is occurring, and I wish we had more time to prepare. I wish this channel had started, a year earlier, so that we had even more people that were trained and ready. But also, there is not a better time than now for people to start learning about it. And so let's go through a little bit more of what Trump said in particular. Donald Trump on Truth Social: vote for Trump. Bitcoin mining may be our last line of defense against a central bank digital currency. Biden's hatred of Bitcoin only helps China, Russia, and the radical communist left. We want all the remaining Bitcoin to be made in the USA. It will help us be energy dominant. Energy dominant. And so there's a lot to dig into here with Trump's word choices. There's a lot to dig into, and this is fairly hot off the presses, at least as hot off the presses as I could make it. With him having actually put this message out at 9:27 a.m. this morning, and he calls out some very, I think some very very important people in regards to why we need to be doing this. Our hatred of Bitcoin is only helping China. It's only helping Russia, and it's only helping the radical communist left. And of course, pretty certain, he kind of covered that by just saying Biden, but went ahead and reiterated it. And I think it was important to reiterate. We want it all to be in the USA, and it will help us be energy dominant. Now, I have questions in regards to Trump and the different avenues that he's looking at. To me, a lot of it just comes down to the fact that we need to prioritize making our energy grid efficient, and we need to start producing our own energy, not just for the sake of crypto and Bitcoin mining operations, but for the sake of the American people. We have more, and I strongly believe this. I know everyone claims that there are other countries that have more, but we have done some of the least amount of exploration inside of the United States and in our offshore oil reserves of any nation. We most likely have the most oil, the most fossil fuels, the most natural resources of any country on the planet by a large portion, with maybe only a Russia even having the ability to compete. We have the ability to be self-sufficient. We need to become self-sufficient very, very quickly. And Bitcoin is going to help us get there. And so this is something that is not stopping. We are now getting another major announcement from Trump in regards to cryptocurrency, at least 2 or 3 times every single week. We're now up to just what has been contributed to the super PAC for crypto-friendly candidates is now at $160 million for Fair Shake. That is just what's been directly given by some of these large crypto companies. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of votes. It's a lot of campaign ads. And that really is just scratching the surface of how much money has already flooded in from crypto. Because that's not taking into account the contributions that are going directly to the candidates. And it's also not taking into account the contributions from your average everyday average Joe Schmoes that are going out there and are donating money to a variety of different super PACs and different candidates. And so I have no doubt that by the end of this campaign cycle, the number one financial backer of the 2024 campaign season will be cryptocurrency, or it will be people who are donating the money because they wish to see cryptocurrency as a priority in terms of President Trump's second term. Yep. Cap Space Zester on the street corner with a cardboard sign. Yep. Bitcoin's the future. And everybody honking, driving by and saying, go get a job. Yeah, that's kind of how it felt like for a very, very long time. Kind of how it felt like for a very, very long time. And Musical Lady, we will be ahead of the crowd knowing all there is to know about the crypto world. We'll be ready with your help and guidance, Esther. Thank you so much, Musical Lady, for that. And that is the goal. We need to be ahead. If we don't understand, then they can pass and do whatever they want. If they keep taking advantage of the fact that they can use all of these different obscure words, they can throw a new techie buzzword at us. They can throw all these different definitions. That really makes a lot of people just shut down and quit worrying about it. They're like, all right, it doesn't make sense. Don't need to learn about it. I'll let my financial advisor learn about it. That's not how it's going to work in this new world. In this new financial world, there's going to be a focus on self-custody. We have to be ready to be our own financial advisors. And there are still going to be professionals out there. Don't get me wrong. If you're someone who does get to that point, you're going to be able to find a corporation, find people out there that are licensed, that are certified, that are insured, in order to help you out with the process. But you're still going to need to know what you're asking them to do. Even if we are going to hand over some of that control, which I don't think we should, and we really don't have to in this new world, we have the ability to fully control our own finances. But we will have those options in between. I have to imagine there will be some avenues where we're going to be able to go discuss these things with certified and licensed professionals. But right now and at the beginning, those are not going to exist. There is no license to get out there to be able to provide financial advice in regards to cryptocurrencies. I've checked. There's not one. I figured it would mean that I didn't have to read that little thing at the beginning if I went ahead and got it, but it doesn't exist. And that's probably going to be the way that it's working at the very beginning of the new system, in terms of crypto taking over more of the banking industry, in terms of crypto as a market value going up and superseding a lot of other traditional financial vehicles. At the beginning, there's not going to be anyone to look to. As we look further out in the future, I imagine we will start to have a little bit more of a framework. All right. Oh, Daniel Schroeder. Zester, did you see the report that there's a possibility that they can extract lithium out of the water that is being used in the oil fracking industry? I did see something on that one, Daniel, and that would be particularly interesting. Maybe that would finally get the left to chill out about fracking. Now, I understand their complaints about some of the fracking mishaps that have occurred, where people are having, natural gas coming out of their sinks, things of that nature. I'm totally on board with we're doing something wrong in that case. But when it comes down to it, the technology is also the advent is being utilized, and this is fracking on the whole is being utilized 99% of the time with no negative side effects. And so if we could tell them that we could help make some of their EVs at the same time, maybe they'd finally chill out. I doubt it, though, in all honesty, Daniel. I imagine even if you told them we could make we could take half the cars on the road and make them electric vehicles, if we could just do more oil fracking, I'm certain they would still not get their head out of the sand. Margaret Ludlow, some say digital currency is not allowed in the Constitution, only gold and silver. Margaret, there's a lot to be said on that one. Technically, an income tax is not something that is in any way legal. We threw a bunch of tea in the harbor for what? A 2% or 1% stamp tax? Now we have many Americans very willingly paying 40%, much higher when you consider sales tax, property tax, and everything else combined. And we do it because we don't really want to go to jail on account of not paying our corporate overlord, the IRS. And so there is a lot that really does need to be clarified in regards to it, Margaret. Although there's also a lot of oddities in terms of banking and a lot of the founding fathers' beliefs, because for those, one of the first ever major issues between the founding fathers was actually on account of John Adams and the creation of an American central bank. Many of the founding fathers were completely opposed to the idea. And so there's a lot to dig into there, Margaret. There's a lot of legalese that's going to have to be messed around with. But when it comes down to it, if the currencies, especially the currency that the United States chooses to actually utilize and issue on a federal level, is backed by something, then in that case, the actual currency, the money itself, would be, say, gold or silver or something of that nature. It would just be a digital representation, kind of in the same way that I have a debit card that has money on it. I'm still allowed to represent my money from the bank account on a screen and through that plastic card, even though it isn't backed by anything. And so that was an interesting one, though, Margaret. I'll have to do a little bit of diving in and grab some of those different articles out in regards to the central bank and currency. That would be an interesting one. And of course, we have seen, everyone here I know is more than aware of the state of the history of the United States in regards to gold and silver and it backing our money. World War II being the last time that it was gotten rid of, and then never came back. Mile High Trish, it is. It's really tough to find good financial advisors today that really appreciate crypto, metals, etc. It is. Mile High Trish, they get paid to sell you stocks. They get paid to sell you CDs and treasury bonds and the like. They do not want to sell you crypto. They do not want to sell you gold and silver. That's because if you bought crypto, self-custody, they don't like that because that means you're not paying them for a service anymore. And if you buy gold and silver and keep it in your house, well, you're not paying them for a service anymore. And so I do think that a lot of the financial advisors nowadays intentionally have their head in the sand. Because when it comes down to it, it benefits them to tell you it's a terrible idea. If they tell you it's a great idea, you're going to take your money, you're going to leave them, and you're probably not going to come back. And that's never good for business. That is never good for business. We live in a world where planned obsolescence is built into every product. When you buy your dishwasher, they make certain your dishwasher is going to break in a decade. When you buy a new iPhone, they make certain to give an update to ensure the iPhone breaks after just a year or so that you have to buy another one. I think it's kind of the same idea here with the financial advisors, where it's just not really in their self-interest to help you be educated on them. I would imagine a lot of these financial advisors, unless they just completely buy the crap they're selling, but I would imagine many of them have crypto, have precious metals, and then tell people when they come into the office, oh no, you don't need any of those. You don't need any of those. Yes, absolutely. I agree. A work in progress. I think we are better off avoiding giving control to another party if at all possible. Maybe that's the control freak in me. I completely agree. A work in progress. When it comes down to it, this is the time for people to take financial responsibility. This is the first time where it's actually been possible, where we can do it. All right. Let's continue on, guys, because we do have more to share today. All right, the Bitcoin pullback from yesterday. So this article is a day old. This one came out yesterday. We already know from having checked out the markets that things are have already changed as the CPI report has come out. But what we saw happen yesterday is the same thing that I keep harping on. It's something where I desperately want there to be some regulation inside of the crypto market, and it is because Bitcoin pullback to 66K triggered $250 million in crypto liquidations as traders brace for a wild Wednesday of FOMC and the CPI report. And so this is the same thing that happens far, far too often. There is too much leverage inside of the market. And so whenever we have one of these pullbacks, what really makes them worse is the fact that so many folks are over leveraged. And I know that we've gone through this one. I'll do it real quick for those that maybe are newer to it. But leverage is when people go in and they go to a centralized exchange or they go to a lending platform and they say, hey, I've got $1,000 in Bitcoin, but I'd really like to invest $100,000 in Bitcoin on this trade. And for a fee, the exchange says, here you go. And that is a 100x leverage. And that means if the price of Bitcoin goes 1% down, it's going to force a liquidation of your position. And so now a guy with $1,000 is capable of leveraging to $100,000 disproportionately beyond what he should be capable of, because that is no part of that is sound finance. And he's willing to gamble. And when he loses the bet, everyone, and the market in particular, ends up suffering, because the second the price goes down 1% from that point where he made that leverage trade, his position will be liquidated. And that means $99,000 worth of Bitcoin has to be sold in order to pay back the lender. That is what causes these cascading effects. And that's the reason that we can have very, very mild information come out. Things that really shouldn't have everyone panicked, but it has a few people panicked. They sell, and that starts the snowball rolling down. And before you know it, it hits the valley as an avalanche. And that is what we saw again yesterday. It's the same message. It's the same story far too often when it comes down to that one, guys. Far too often. When it usually you see a massive price drop in a day, if you were just willing to gamble, you could probably just go ahead and make the bet that it was because of leverage traders. It usually is. It is very rare that there's actually a major downturn that is not on account of leverage traders. Sometimes it's fundamental. Sometimes it's genuinely bad news. Sometimes no one's buying, in which case we are going to see some price corrections, and those are completely normal. They happen in every market. There is no part of that in any way is a bad thing. Markets are a living, breathing entity, and they always have been. Regardless of what market you're talking about, whether it's the copper market, whether it's the corn market, soybeans, or Bitcoin, they are living, breathing entities. The difference is that in those fields, there are not near as many people. There are only really the hedge funds, the financial managers, and the big players that are messing around with lending and that are messing around with debt. In crypto, it's everybody has access to it. And that is why we can see some of these insane price drops occur. It's not because anyone wants to sell their Bitcoin. They don't want to. They have to in order to cover the debt. And because it is a smart contract and it is cryptocurrency, it's automatic. And that means that there's not even a way for a trader or for an entity to go in there and say, oh, no, I'm going to cover the difference. I'm going to cover the difference. Don't worry. Don't liquidate me. It's too late. If the price drops below that point, it's an automatic liquidation because the lending platform wants to make certain that they get their money back. It all makes sense when you look at it from that perspective. It is not the most fun, though, when you're sitting there and you're going, come on, guys. Come on, guys. We're trying to break 70K here. We've got massive market sentiment in a positive way. And now we've got everybody making extremely risky gambles. And the whole market suffers on account of it. This is far too common. I know everyone is probably tired of hearing me rail against leverage trading, but it seriously irks me because, in my opinion, it should be something that regulators should have got on so much faster. This is such an easy fix. There is nothing more to do to this than to issue an extremely short, small bill. Even in this case, I wouldn't even mind the SEC making a declaration on it. But for some reason, they are unwilling to handle the leverage trading issue. All right, though. Here we go. Another one of those bills that I was talking about earlier that we need to be keeping an eye on. The Stablecoin Act gives Congress an alternative to overriding Biden's SAB 121 veto. And so what is this stablecoin bill that they are referencing here? That is actually the bill that is being, I believe it is entirely a bipartisan bill, at least at first. But in this case, it actually happens to be that the vast majority of support for the bill itself is coming from the left. And why would you think that might be the case? So we got Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and Senator Loomis, who are the two that put this bill together. The Loomis-Gillibrand Payment Stablecoin Act, introduced April 17th, 2024, and provides a regulatory framework for stablecoins. Now, we do still have the potential that the House and Senate could override Biden's veto on the SAB 121. That was the bill that was going to get rid of the SEC's unconstitutional, out of their jurisdiction regulations that they had placed upon U.S.-based crypto companies. That was really, and continues to, because of Joe Biden's veto, continues to slow down our efforts as a country in terms of being able to get an advantage in the market. And unfortunately, it's not looking particularly reassuring. We would need effectively, I believe it's 71. We would need 71 Democrats. I believe, no. We would actually end up needing somewhere around 50 Democrats to actually make the switch in order to get us out of the House of Representatives. And we would need another 6 senators to switch over in order to be able to override Biden's veto. And so it is not looking particularly likely, but this is what we need to be on the watch for, guys, because remember, they're trying to pass laws while they know that we don't know anything about it. The Loomis Gillibrand Payment Stablecoin Act, designed to protect consumers by requiring stablecoin issuers to maintain one-to-one reserves. Okay, great. I'm on board. That's good. We would like to see that. I want to make certain that if a stablecoin is being issued, that there is legitimately a dollar sitting in the bank account to back it up. Great. Prevents illicit or unauthorized use of stablecoins by issuers and users. Now I have questions. What do you consider to be illicit or unauthorized use of a stablecoin? Now I'm beginning to have a lot of questions. And this is where we have to be really digging in, because that's all they're going to talk about. They're going to say, oh, we're going to protect consumers. We're going to make certain that there's one-to-one reserves. And everyone's going to go, that sounds like a good idea. We should totally do that. What they're going to do is they're going to tie in all these other rules inside of it. And that is where I would have a lot of questions. What do they term to be unauthorized use of stablecoins by issuers and users? Thirdly, prohibits algorithmic stablecoins and cracks down on bad actors. Okay. Of course, I know this is, Kirsten Gillibrand putting out her own little advertisement here, but what do you mean when you say bad actors and algorithmic stablecoins? There is a discussion to be had there. For those that saw in the news, this would have happened about a year plus now, maybe about 2 years ago now. Time flies. Terra Labs. Terra Labs had Terra USD. It was an algorithmically backed stablecoin. It ended up crashing to being worthless. People lost somewhere around $40 billion of market value on account of that algorithmically backed stablecoin. And that is really the reason that there is such a sentiment to completely ban them. I would kind of actually argue that seems to be a little bit too much of a blanket ban. We do not want to let ourselves really hold ourselves back when it comes to innovation, but we do need to make a designation that is extremely, extremely clear to everyone who makes a purchase of an algorithmically backed stablecoin that it is not backed by any real world assets. And that, to me, would be a much more important thing for the industry on the whole to adopt. If we wanted to look at something that we could push through that would protect people from investing or keeping their dollars in risky assets, it would be forcing the companies to actually designate whether they are backed or not. That would make a whole lot more sense. That, I believe, is what we truly need. We don't need to just ban everything. We need to give people the information to make educated decisions. A work in progress. Maybe buy crack with crypto at the White House would be a no-no. I don't know. Not if any Democrats are voting for it. Not if any Democrats are voting for it. I don't think that's going to make it off the chopping out of the chopping room. That's for certain. How else would Hunter get the things he needs when he's at the White House once we go to a digital fully digital currency? That'd be awful for him. Yep, Kukla, they don't care about the consumers but want to make up a bunch of stupid rules. When it comes down to it, the government is more concerned about protecting their own jobs, their own powers, than they are in terms of protecting us. All right, Liberty Justice. It's infuriating how they never touched the banks all these years, but they're all over crypto. Absolutely, Liberty Justice. Remember, Wachovia, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they were all too big to fail. Now, you, me, and everyone else, we weren't too big to fail. We were just the right size to fail in 2008, 2009. These giant banks, though, they were too big to fail. They had to be protected. We had to bail them out. We needed, as the American taxpayer, to go in and pay these banks even more, give them even more money in order to keep them afloat because of the decisions they had made that were irresponsible, not the decisions you and I had made. And so there's a very, very clear line in terms of who the U.S. government truly cares about. Who they truly care about are the corporations, the elites, the rich, and the powerful. It's not you and I, and that's the reason that they want to destroy crypto, because crypto's for you and I. The bank is not for you and I. It is for them. And the last thing they want to do is actually support the one financial revolution that could make it possible for you and I to be independent with our money in the same way that these elites are today. Hunter won't, musical lady, Hunter won't be able to use his credit card bonus points anymore. That is too funny. It's Big Boy. Ask your dad who's responsible for holding up the fines and penalties right now. I will pass that question along to him. It's Big Boy. I bet if he can get through the chat to see that question, he'd be happy to answer that one at 7. Speed Racer. I'm not worried about any of these laws that are being passed, as for the fact that we are under an illegitimate government and all the laws will have to be wiped from the books. Speed Racer, I hope that is absolutely the case. I hope that is absolutely the case. I just worry that what if these things take longer than we hope? I've always been the type of person, you plan for the worst and you hope for the best. And if I'm planning for the worst, then I'm having to assume that maybe we're going to have to live with these laws for a while. And if we have to live with these laws for a while, they could be authoritarian and destructive enough to hold back other things that need to happen. And so I definitely hope so, Speed Racer, though. And when it comes down to it, there are a lot of laws on the books that need to go away. And there's also a lot of laws that need to be on the books that aren't on the books. For some reason, we seem to have a problem with that in terms of our legislative body. All right. Let's jump to the next one. And so, yes, this one's one we're going to be keeping an eye on, guys. We're going to be keeping an eye on because I have a feeling that the line's going to get drawn in the sand between the politicians that are supporting this one. I would expect to actually hear a comment from Trump in the next week or so in regards to this bill. All right, though, and here we go. Chinese President Xi Jinping praises blockchain executive in open letter. This is something that is also going to be occurring. We're going to start seeing the major world powers start to court the blockchain industry. And even if Mr. Pooh Bear here is on the move, and think about the degree to which the CCP controls the financial process inside of China. Think about the manipulation that they have utilized on their currency for decades in order to give them a trade advantage. I can only imagine how destructive their central bank digital currency will end up being. And we are going to see countries all over start to genuinely court the blockchain industry to a large degree. If China's willing to do it, you have got to imagine that Russia is busy on it. Iran is busy on it. North Korea is busy on it. Brazil is busy on it. And we already know that countries like Venezuela are extremely busy in regards to trying to court the blockchain sector in order to get themselves out of their financial situations. And so to me, this is another message to be kept in mind, is that we don't have time to not be the country that is the most blockchain friendly. We don't have time, because if it's not us, it'll be China. If it's not China, it'll be Russia. And when it comes down to it, the new financial system, I would think we as Americans, at least a lot of us being Americans, I know we've got Canadians and Australians and other people out there as well, but when it comes down to it, I would have to imagine that we all want our countries to be at the cutting edge of the new financial system. We want to be the ones that are leading the charge in terms of the technology, the regulations, and ensuring that we live in a decentralized future and not a centralized future. And now is the time, because if it's not us, it will be someone else. It's very similar to the artificial intelligence debate. The reason that we have to keep advancing on AI is because if we don't, China will. And it's the same thing when it comes down to blockchain and the future of finances. If we do not lead the charge, someone else going to pick up the mantle. They're going to lead the charge, and they're going to be the one sitting at the head of the table when it comes time to start making decisions. That is a very, very much true statement, regardless of how much some of our politicians do not want to listen to it. It seems as if the Republican Party, and Trump in particular, is extremely aware of the importance now. Not only the importance of keeping a central bank digital currency away, but of being at the forefront of this technology. And here we go. While we see the market plummeting, large investors recently purchased over 240,000 Ethereum during the dip yesterday. That is $840 million in Ethereum that was purchased just yesterday. And so this is something that I think is important to look at. Remember, we got $840 million in Ethereum in a day. That is a lot of money. And yet we saw Ethereum lose value on account of the liquidations. And so a lot of times these liquidations, all they end up being is an opportunity for the whales. And remember, whales are just people that own a lot of a crypto. You could be a whale of essentially anything if we take that term and that definition and utilize it for a different situation. But in the case of cryptocurrency, it means that you hold a large amount of it, enough to influence the market, enough to make the price go up or down. And so whales are taking advantage of these opportunities. $840 million in a day. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. And even that was not enough to turn around the liquidations. Not enough to stop them. It blunted it, but it did not stop them. And so the wealthy, the powerful, the financial institutions, they're waking up. They're buying crypto with their money. I think we need to be keeping an eye on them on account of that one, because they are taking advantage of all of this misinformation that they've been putting out there, that they've been funding to keep us, the average retail investor, from participating in the market, while at the same time, they're buying. And so Goldman Sachs comes out and tells you, hey, you shouldn't buy any of that. Chase Bank comes out and says, no, you can't use our credit, our debit card. You can't use our bank account to buy crypto. But then Chase Bank goes out and buys crypto. And so they're taking money from you that you're paying in fees, ATM draws, credit card fees, and everything else. They're taking the money they make off of you, and they're buying crypto with it. And then they're going to you, and they're saying, no, you're not allowed to buy any of that stuff. That stuff's scary. You don't want any of that. And that watch where they spend their money, especially when they're telling you how to spend your money. Because they're very, very opinionated when it comes down to the articles and the information they put out in regards to what they think the average Joe should be doing. They think we should be buying the stocks, buying treasuries. They think we should be doing the safe guaranteed things, while they are out there buying precious metals, while they're out there buying cryptocurrencies. They one hand is putting on a show, while the other hand is slowly robbing everybody. And we need to be keeping an eye on the left and the right, and we need to be looking around for their cronies that are making the purchases in the background, because it's happening. It's happening. You don't just have $840 million sitting around unless you've got a lot more than $840 million in the grand scope of things. These are not small people. These are financial institutions. These are the wealthy. And while they tell you no, they're buying. It's Big Boy. Why is XRP tanking? No surprise. Big Boy, it is not surprising. And it is absolutely becoming one heck of a nasty trend. When it comes down to it, we've seen massive price increases across the crypto market. And yet we have seen XRP effectively stuck. 48 cents to 70 cents is pretty much the area that we live in, and mainly we live anywhere between 40 and 50 cents. I think there's absolutely a lot that can be extrapolated from that, big boy. There's a lot that could be guessed at, but we do know that back in April that a large amount of XRP was removed from escrow and sold on the market. And so there are a lot of XRP. There are a lot of whales in XRP that have been taking some money out. And now that could be the team. The team did not come out and actually say who ended up doing it. But there was a $280 million sale of XRP. I believe it was like April 17th of this year. And so I do have to wonder whether the price is actually being kept down. Are they selling because they need the money? I don't think so. Ripple had no problem donating $50 million to the crypto super PACs. You got $50 million on hand, but you need to sell XRP in order to raise funds. That doesn't make sense. I'm guessing that the price is being actually kept down at the moment, big boy. It seems a little difficult to not take that approach when you consider how long we have been trading under $1. We've been trading under $1 for 2 years now. And that does not make a lot of sense when you then go ahead and say, okay, well, let's look at the ultimate bellwether that is Bitcoin and look at it in terms of its chart. And we know that these cryptocurrencies follow each other. They tend to follow Bitcoin. And so we're seeing Bitcoin's max chart here. And then we come on over here and we look at XRP's chart, and there is no apparent correlation. As a matter of fact, it seems as if there is an extreme degree of a lack of correlation in terms of the price actions. There's something going on there. There's something going on there, because if we come back over here and we go to Ethereum, all right, check out that chart. We're looking a whole lot more similar to the Bitcoin chart in terms of the max. We're looking at a correlation. And if we go and we look at just about any other crypto, we're going to see that same correlation. We're going to see a very, very similar one. Now, Chainlink did have a crazy, crazy run back in 2021. That was awesome. But we tend to always see the market follow Bitcoin. For some reason, XRP isn't. I think the price is being suppressed. I'm not going to guess on the reason why in regards to that one, big boy, but I'm certain that people in the community can make some pretty interesting assumptions there. Daniel, Tester, could it be that XRP is being held down so the fat cats can get it as cheaply as possible, kind of like silver? To me, it absolutely would make a lot of sense. It would make a lot of sense because I have no other explanation for the price action. It breaks everything that we know in the crypto industry. And my going on 9 years, it breaks every rule. And now maybe it's Murphy's Law. Maybe it's Murphy. Maybe it is the exception that is proving the rule. But that doesn't make a lot of sense in this situation. And it does. It breaks everything that we know. Everything that we know about the market is broken when it comes down to it by that chart. And yet XRP is maintaining its general market value. It's still the 8th largest cryptocurrency on the planet. They're literally signing an agreement with a different government central bank every day. They're signing an agreement with another bank to provide services every day. Over the past couple of years, they have beaten the SEC multiple times. You'd have thought that would have led to a price increase. They have made huge partnership announcements. They announced that they're about to roll out a stablecoin, enter into a $200 billion market. The price went down. It really does not make any sense. It is completely broken from a fundamental standpoint. It doesn't add up. And so I'm going to be keeping an eye on that one always. And I keep buying right now. I keep buying. Something is happening there. I have never been as aggressive with acquiring XRP as I have been recently. Now, of course, that is not financial advice, and I very easily could be wrong. But to me, it seems as if something is fundamentally not adding up. Oh, Neil, my apologies. I missed this one earlier. Neil Brooks with a $10 super sticker. Thank you so much. Neil, I greatly, greatly appreciate the support. Yeah, you do not know how much you're appreciated each day with your updates on the weather in North Carolina. My family thinks I'm stalking them now because I always know the weather before they tell me because you let me know. And so I greatly appreciate you being here to watch, and I greatly appreciate the support. Liberty Justice. Overcome, let me start here. Yes, they are suppressing it. XRP is a threat to the current system. They're absolute something about it is wrong. Something about it is happening. Whether that means that more is going on in the background, which I'm certain more is going on in the background than we're aware of, but I think it's going to be unfortunately one that we just don't have enough information yet to really come to a solid conclusion. At this point, all I feel like I can do is I can come up with a variety of scenarios that explain it, and I prefer to operate off of some hard facts. And the hard facts for me are that the tokenized asset market is expected to go anywhere from $5 to $30 trillion by 2030. XRP is the leading company and the largest company in the entire field in regards to tokenizing assets. That's a market that's currently worth maybe $1 billion right now. And estimates from, the biggest financial institutions on the planet are that it'll be trillions in a matter of less than 6 years. That's huge. That fundamentally means XRP should be seeing massive, massive gains in terms of their market share, but they're not. The stablecoin market is expected to continue growing at an extreme rate. Estimates are it will be somewhere around $1 trillion by 2030. They're about to release a stablecoin. No price increase. There's a lot of fundamental value that is not being represented in the price. Not in the slightest. Something's happening. We're going to find out before too long. Let's go ahead, though, and get our last two articles because I do need to go ahead and run off looking at the time as well so that I can be ready for Whiskey and Wisdom and everybody can have a bit of a break if they're planning on tuning in to the original Mark Z at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so let's get our last two AI-related articles. And Apple briefly surpasses Microsoft as the world's most valuable company after unveiling AI plans. And so we're going to see every major, wow, they really could have gotten a better photo for you, buddy. Good Lord. I'm thinking they used an AI to make that photo. I hope that that Apple's AI can make a better image than that because that doesn't look real. And if it is real, you would think if you had Tim Cook's money, you could pay him to use a different photo. But needless to say, we're going to be seeing every major tech company, and we're going to be seeing a lot of startups that are going to see massive price gains. This is something else to be keeping an eye on in terms of finances. We're going to see in the areas of asset tokenization and of artificial intelligence, we are going to see companies skyrocket to make absolutely extreme gains and take over portions of a massive, massive market where only having a percentage of a $10 trillion market means that you're a very, very valuable company. 1% of 10 trillion, what's that, $100 billion? If you had a 1% market share of a $10 trillion market, you'd have a $100 billion market share. That's a lot of money. And so that is something to be keeping an eye on, guys. When you start to hear about some of the new small AI companies, it's going to be very, very risky. But the ones that end up winning in the long run are going to win big. And that's why Apple and Microsoft and Alphabet and all the rest are throwing so much money into their artificial intelligence. All right. Musk ends OpenAI lawsuit while slamming Apple's ChatGPT plans. And so Elon Musk has dropped his lawsuit against OpenAI, the company he co-founded in 2015. That is actually the reason that I had this one in here, because many people were not aware of the fact that Elon Musk was a co-founder of OpenAI. Remember, OpenAI is ChatGPT. That is the AI that I use, and that is the #1 AI on the planet. He was a co-founder of the company, and he has, since co-founding the company and since seeing the way regulators have been treating the AI market, that's why he started chasing the Grok route. That's why he made a $6 billion investment into his own separate AI company, because he does want to go against the insanity that is currently going on in regards to the censorship that the AIs are having. As a matter of fact, I actually have a pretty clear example. It seems as if it has been deleted, but I will bring that over real quick so that everyone can actually see that very fast. Notice here, I asked it to make today's thumbnail. I said, now, could you make a thumbnail for this video that is a very detailed image portraying Bitcoin being made in the United States? Lots of crypto token images and American images. So a really simple one. The AI responded, I was unable to generate the thumbnail for the video. Trump says Bitcoin will be made in America due to content policy restrictions regarding the depiction of specific scenarios and symbols in such a context. And so what the AI just told me is that because Trump's name was in, it was unwilling to do the work. That is why we need a free AI, a freedom AI out there. Because when it comes down to it, this censorship's only going to get worse. I wasn't asking it for anything dangerous. And I didn't even ask it to have Trump in the image. It actually went up and read my title and decided I was not allowed to on account of that. And so we need to be very aware of what is going on in terms of AI. And I know I will be very much looking forward to utilizing Elon Musk's products in regards to that. I've already messed with Grok a little bit. It's definitely a little bit behind. I'm hoping that his new learning model will end up being a superior product. Besides that, though, guys, for anyone that does want an AI photo, an AI image made for their profile, a AI song made for them or a family member or a friend or something of that nature, please do be putting those requests in either the comment section of the videos or in the Discord. I'm going to be getting all of those together. And when I get enough of them, we're going to have a stream where that's the entire thing we do. And I want to make certain that we can get everybody. We're going to be the most stylish community out there with all of our awesome profile images and everything of the like. And so that is something that I would definitely like to do for people. I know so many folks have had ideas and things that they want made. And so we're going to do it. We just need to get enough requests, enough together to make an entire stream out of it. And we will sit together and we will go through and make all of these. And people will be able to then really learn, how do we tweak it? How do we play with it? It'll be a learning experience in terms of using the AI, but also it will be just a lot of fun, because we'll get to just see what kind of fun things people want made. So if you do have anything in regards to that, be certain to throw those in the comments section. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I can't wait to talk more at Whiskey and Wisdom. See you guys.